right, welcome back, everyone. We are about to kick off our very first speaker, Michael Gidlewski. Michael will be talking about how to understand our unique individual communication styles. That's so important for communication, not just to understand yourself, but also to understand the types of communicators that you're trying to communicate with, how to understand others. Michael Gidlewski is the CEO of Achievement Unlimited. He's a motivational speaker, and he's been working with Fortune 100 and 500 companies for years, helping them to increase communications and their bottom lines. Michael also is offering everyone here a free communication assessment. And I want to share that with you on the PresenceSummit website quickly so that everyone can see where to get that, because you're going to get the most out of this presentation if you take this free online communication assessment here from TTI Success Insights. It only takes about 15 minutes, and it's going to give you your personal communication style, which Michael's going to dig into in more detail. And then you can start to recognize other people's communication styles and increase your effectiveness, especially in today's online meeting world. It's so important to be able to communicate effectively. We wanted to kick off this PresenceSummit with a presentation from Michael Gidlewski. Is Michael here?
Yes.
Let's bring him on. Hi, Michael.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, Paul?
Looks like you're already sharing your screen, Michael, so why don't you take it away?
Okay, sounds great. Here we go. Let's get this thing rolling here. All right, what type of communicator are you? So let me ask you all a question. When you think about communications, right, what is the high cost of miscommunication, both personally and professionally? If we think about communication, it is critical for us to be a good communicator in the world we live in. The cost of understanding and misunderstanding is tremendous. And there's an old saying, talk is cheap, but in today's world, talk is not cheap, and it can be detrimental to your personal life, your professional life, your social life. So it's really, really important to understand what type of a communicator you are. And we're going to really get into that, because we are the modern paradox is that we are technologically connected in every imaginable way. However, the consequences of that are we are disconnected interpersonally. So we're having less interpersonal relations, and we're having more digital relations. COVID-19 has accelerated this disconnect, if you will, person to person, face to face. So it's really important. Many people are working at home. What is the cost of working at home? Are you struggling to work at home, or do you feel that you're being heard in your business, right? So let's look at why is effective communication so important in life, love, and leadership. Everything in our world is about communication. So communication is the absolute foundation of our ability to be successful in life, love, and leadership. And building successful relationships is a critical success factor for every single one of us today. Our ability to collaborate with people, right? And we're doing that through Zoom and other technologies, to exchange ideas and information, and truly understand what the other person really means, where they are coming from, and how we can connect at a deeper level. Research shows that 70 to 80% of our day is spent sending and receiving information. And you can see that there's a lot, if that percentage is so high, that there's a great opportunity for communication to be misunderstood and miscommunicated. Also, being more effective with our communication style is an accelerator to success with all the other skills that we have. If you think about people that were great communicators over history, Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, Ronald Reagan, forget whether, you know, they're right or left or whatever. These people were great communicators. They were able to connect with people. And Peter Drucker, the management guru, says that 60% of the problems in business are communication problems. And research shows, in my 25 years in this business, that that's absolutely congruent. In fact, far too many times when I go into companies, it's like, we have a communication problem. We have a communication problem. So today, we're going to talk about the DISC model, the four. Vince Lombardi said that the mastery of fundamentals is critical to our success, and it's also an accelerator to our success. So we're going to talk about the our focus is going to be on the DISC model, which is 4 behavioral styles that we all have, okay, and 4 behavioral styles in the way we communicate to the world. So let's look at these DISC styles of communication. First of all, who is the only person in the world that you always have with you and have control over? That's right, it's only you. So you control you. The recognizing the DISC style is all about how you effectively influence yourself and other people. And lastly, we are all different. We are all unique and wonderfully made. We need to understand that and appreciate the differences rather than fight them or go against them. William Marston Moulton of Harvard University really designed this DISC model. It's a very powerful model, and DISC is the doorway to the most effective communication that we can have. And that's why your communication style reflects your own unique style. Other people have different styles. We're going to look at those in a minute. If we want to be more effective, we can learn our communication style, learn other people's communication style, and then communicate in their style to have maximum effectiveness. You're going to hear me say this over and over again, because knowing our own style is certainly one thing, but being able to recognize the styles of the people that we're interacting with, and then to flex our own style into their style, is going to be a powerful, powerful game changer, especially as we move forward in this hybrid digital face-to-face communication. We don't know where the world is going. There's a tremendous amount of uncertainty, but we can bring certainty and clarity by being more effective communicators. All right, let's take a look at the DISC model and some extremely important points about the DISC model. So number one, DISC is the universal language of observable behavior. Key here is that it is observable behavior. It's great that we have assessments and that we can identify our own style. And it's very powerful when you do it in an organization and everybody identifies their style. We create a matrix and all. But you can go anywhere. You can go to the supermarket, to Wawa, to wherever. And because DISC is a language of observable behavior, we listen and we observe, and we can get a really good idea of where people are coming from and then how to interact with them. DISC is a universal language of how you do what you do, how you do what you do. Well, not why you do what you do. The company that I'm associated with, TTI, is worldwide. I don't know, millions, hundreds of millions of DISC from around the world. These styles are universal from every single continent and people around the world. It's validated and it's very, very powerful once you understand it, internalize it, and grok it, okay? Very important that a person's DISC style, their behavioral style, is not what makes them good or bad, right or wrong. It just is. When you look at disc styles of successful people, there's people in every single area uh, of the disc that are successful. So it's not like one, oh, you have to be a D or an I or an S or a C. And I'm going to go into those descriptors in a moment. But anybody in any area, it can be successful. So let's look at the objectives of our behaviors. Number one, identify your own behavior style. Socrates said, know thyself. So you really need to know your own behavioral style. Number two, identify, understand, and appreciate people who have a different style. Understand and appreciate, not just understand them, but appreciate them. And number three, develop a process to communicate with different styles. This is so darn important because all people are great in their own unique and wonderful way. And I do believe that we have a propensity, especially in the office, at work, to forget that people are great in their own unique way. They all bring a tremendous amount of collaboration, of ideas, of wisdom, of innovation to our group. But we have to know how to communicate with them to access that information, okay? So let's look at defining and learning the language. Very, very important. We'll unpack this a bit so we understand what this language is about. So people who are D in the DISC model, D stands for dominance, and it's how you address problems and challenges and how you exercise power, okay? So Ds are dominant, they're driven. Ds are dominant and driven people. The next letter in the model is I. I stands for influence. And influence is all about how you respond, or how you interact, rather, I'm sorry, and handle situations involving people and contacts. The idea is to interact with them, to help them see your point of view. Let's look at the next letter, S, steadiness. How you demonstrate pace and consistency and the pace of your environment. These people are about 40% of the population. They're critical to the success of any organization. These people are steady. They love processes. They follow the process from start to finish, and they're a critical component of a successful organization. All of these are in different ways, but sometimes the S's, they don't get noticed. And the last one is C, for compliance, how you react to procedures and constraints. People with a high C compliance are all about, they're all about dotting the I's, crossing the T's, the facts. Everything has to be factual, research driven. These folks, you will enter a conversation in a way that lets you know that they want facts, okay? So let's look at the a quick, if you will. So you're probably saying to yourself, well, how do I know who's a D, I, S, or C if I don't have their report in front of me? Well, this is what you'll see. D, I, S, and C, this model, you're looking for a couple of things. One, you're looking for people to see if they're task-oriented. These four factors, task-oriented or people-oriented. Are the folks you're interacting with more concerned with results and tasks and projects, or are they more concerned with people? The D, the dominant style, is outgoing and task-oriented. The D is all about results, 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 results. So if you look at the other two factors here, you have outgoing and proactive on the right side, and reserved and reactive on the left side. So D's are outgoing, task-oriented, and they're looking for results. I's, on the other hand, are outgoing and people-oriented, and the I is looking for interaction. The I's mantra is sort of like, Thank God it's Friday every night of the week because they can interact with people. Their interaction with people gives them energy, okay? So I's are very people-oriented, outgoing, proactive, people-oriented. S's are people-oriented, but they're very reserved and quiet. So S's are people-oriented, but they're looking for stability. They are not going to be, they're not going to be raising their hand with information to share with you. So if you have S's in your organization, you need to engage them and ask them questions, and they will have valuable information. They will share that valuable information with you, and thereby making your team a better team, your company a better company, your organization a better organization. One of the things about S's are they won't say anything if you don't ask them, though. So they could be sitting there with valuable information to help move a project forward, to contribute to your strategic plan, to do whatever. And unless you ask them, in most cases, because they're reserved and quiet, they're not going to volunteer their answers. If you have any meeting, the challenge is for a high D. High Ds will try to control the meeting, take over the meeting, and be in charge of the meeting. And the high I's will want to talk about how we're going to celebrate after the meeting. So D's and I's both being very outgoing, very proactive, have a propensity to control the meeting, and we don't hear from C's and S's. C's, on the other hand, are also reserved and reactive, and C's, excuse me, are very task-oriented also. So the C is looking for facts. They're looking for things to be right. They want things to be right exactly the way they are. So I think it's important that as we go through the model, that you really understand that you're looking at, when you want to recognize who is where in the DISC model, just look at, are they task oriented or are they people oriented? Are they outgoing and proactive, or are they reserved and reactive? So it's like a little DISC cheat sheet that'll absolutely give you some insight into folks before you can actually have a full-blown assessment on them, okay? Now, for those of you who have done the free assessment, have taken the free assessment, if you have that in front of you, this is how the working at home report breaks down. So if your highest score is D, you are a direct communicator. So D's are direct and dominant. If your lowest score is D, you're a reflective communicator. You're more introverted, reflective in that sense, okay? So when I was explaining those other models, the other DIS and Cs, we were talking about people who are high in those dimensions. Here we are giving you both the highest dimension and the lowest dimension. If your score is I, you're an outgoing communicator. Remember, I's are proactive, they're outgoing, and they're people-oriented. However, if your lowest score was an I, then you're, again, a more reserved communicator, okay? More contemplative. If your highest score is S, you are a dynamic communicator. I'm sorry, a predictable communicator, not dynamic, predictable. If your lowest score is S, you're a dynamic communicator. Looking at the C dimension of the DISC model, if your highest score is C, you are a compliant communicator. If your lowest score is C, you are a pioneering communicator, more of a contemplative. Now, let's look at the next slide, because it's a very powerful law to understand. The platinum rule says, do unto others as they want to be done unto. In other words, treat others the way they want to be treated. Think about the golden rule. Golden rule says, treat others the way you want to be treated. Okay, that's great. If I'm a high D or a high I, and let's say I'm a high I, and I want to, living the golden rule, I'm going to treat others as if they're all high I's. However, I'm going to disconnect with about 75% of the population because about only 25% are high I's. That's why it's important to understand my own style, your own style, and then to communicate. So if I'm a high I and I'm going to communicate with a D, S, or a C, and I learn what they're about, and I communicate in their language, in the language that they understand, communication is understanding is going to accelerate. Misunderstanding is going to decrease dramatically. So this is a very, very, very powerful process. It's easy to understand, especially when you get your own report. Having your own report is extremely, extremely valuable. And we've got a special offer for you on that. But when the real key to successful communication, again, it can't be overstated, is to learn your style, internalize it, and then be open to other people's styles. Okay. So once these 4 styles have been understood by you, it's more like having your eyes open to all the different styles of all the people you interact with. And I guarantee you, if you interact with people in their style, your success is going to go up tremendously.